Good afternoon. I'm going to give some introductory remarks because I understand today is really about us understanding exactly where Southern is, where we need to go, and how we're going to get there, or at least what the plan is. So I'm going to start with a big picture and work my way down to the specifics, and then we'll hand it over to the vice presidents and then the chancellors to give you, especially the board members, an in-depth look at what's happening at the institution we all love. Because among the people in this room, I don't think there's anything about Southern that isn't known, or that any question you might ask that cannot be answered from the people in this room. So on a larger scale, the world is clearly changing. Through this process of globalization, it's really a reorganization of the world markets. America's role within the global market is being adjusted such that our once privileged position is now being ratcheted down, both on a global scale, but also when you look at what's happening to individuals within America, you see that our standard of living that used to be one of the most luxurious in the world is slowly being squeezed to a lower and lower level. At the state levels, especially in Louisiana, we're seeing that process firsthand. You're watching an administration that is pushing job growth at the expense of individual personal benefits and salaries. You're watching, from our point of view, higher education get squeezed more and more and more and more, to the point that our budget today is actually 40% smaller than it was about 4 years ago. And the amount of state appropriations that we get today is about 60% less than it was 4 years ago. Those are huge numbers. And it requires adjustments that cannot be made incrementally. In this new reality that we're dealing with, there are really going to be some institutions that survive and some institutions that don't survive in this change process. And I think that what is going to determine which institutions are here when the dust settles are a couple of things. One, do we have competent management? I believe that at Southern we have the management that we need to be where we need to go where we need to go in order to be here when the dust settles. We have good chancellors that we've put in stable positions by awarding them contracts that allows them to do the hard work of change that's necessary on their campuses. We have good vice presidents who have been working in the areas that they have a high level of expertise in to try to help us make this transition in a time frame that is quicker than the normal change process would usually take. And if you want proof of the competency of these folks, and this is what I tell people when I'm out on the road talking about the new Southern, one, the fact that from the campus point of view, we've been able to successfully negotiate the world of reaffirmation in the accreditation process on all of the campuses, clean up all of our problems, despite the fact that we have less money to work with, less people to work with, and are really in very challenging financial times, which is usually what trips up historically black universities in the accreditation process. But even with all of that, we've been able to successfully reaffirm all of our campuses and reaccredit all of our campuses so that now for the next 10 years we'll be fine in that regard. The other big sign that attracts people's attention to the work that we're doing at Southern is the fact that we've been able to have two perfectly clean audits, one at the state level and one at the federal level. This is the first time this has happened in almost a half a decade. You'd be amazed at how impressive that is to people who are wondering whether Southern is a wise investment for them to put their money in. But when we let them know that, they tend to be more willing to invest in Southern. So if you have competent management, you have the first piece of the puzzle on being around when the dust settles after this great transition process takes place. The other key, though, is to have a good plan. A a plan that conveys to people that you know what you're doing, that you understand the work that needs to be done, and that you're doing what's necessary in order to be successful at the end of this process. The plan that we have was approved by the board on October 26th of 2012, and that's the transformation plan. And it's not rocket science, but it's what is necessary in order for us to be here when the dust settles. We're looking at eliminating duplication across the system, becoming more efficient, more technology-driven. All of these things are absolutely necessary in the new world that we're confronted with. We're focused on the areas of human resources because people is the main ingredient, or the main ingredient. Technology, because everything is technology today. And if you don't understand it and don't use it, you cannot keep up in a world that moves at a very fast pace. And then we're making sure that our records and books and numbers are straight, because if you can't trust you with the money, if people can't trust you with the money, you can't get what you need to survive, which is the investment that's necessary in order to make the changes. So what we're here today to do is to make sure that we're all on the same page, because we don't know that we have all the answers, but we have a plan, we have the management, and what we believe the board wants to make sure of is that they understand what's going on, what we're doing and how we're doing it, and then be able to add value by giving us your thoughts and ideas that may help us do what we're doing better. So we're going to hand it off to the vice presidents and let them do their presentations. It's going to be pretty detailed information about not only what the ideas are for the future, but also the real challenges that we face as we move forward. Because, you know, candidly, if the future is tomorrow, almost literally, that is tomorrow, we were not at today when we started this process. We have a long way to go walking in the door, because even by HBCU standards, in many ways, Southern had a lot of catching up to do. But we feel like we've made the progress, we're moving forward, we have a good plan, and we make a little progress every day, which is really the best we can do in this kind of environment. So if you have questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them. And if not, I'm going to hand it over to the vice presidents to start the transformation presentations.